Today Dong Fu invites you to listen to the Dhammapada, one of the Dharma of Buddha Shakyamuni. The 48th verse from the Buddhist scriptures on the YouTube channel TIen Thai in the USA. The destroyer brings under his sway the person of grasping mind who, insatiate in sense desires, only collects the flowers of pleasure. This verse speaks deeply about the nature of craving and its consequences. The destroyer is the force of death and suffering that holds sway over those whose minds are caught in endless desire. The person of grasping mind is one who cannot be satisfied. Like a bee flitting from flower to flower, they chase after sense pleasures, never content, always wanting more. These flowers of pleasure are beautiful but fleeting. They are transient experiences of taste, touch, sight, sound, and smell that offer momentary delight but never lasting peace. The insatiate mind is bound by this endless craving. It is like a prisoner trapped by its own desires, unable to see the path to freedom. The Buddha teaches that this grasping mind is under the sway of the destroyer because it fuels the cycle of birth and death, suffering and dissatisfaction. To awaken is to recognize this grasping and to gently let go. To see clearly that the flowers of pleasure, though enticing, cannot satisfy the deepest hunger of the heart. The path of Dharma invites us to cultivate mindfulness and wisdom, to see the nature of craving as it arises, and with compassion to release it. When the mind ceases to grasp, the power of the destroyer fades. The heart becomes light, free, and peaceful. This teaching encourages us to look deeply at our relationship with sense desires, to understand how insatiable craving leads to suffering. The destroyer holds sway over the mind that clings endlessly to sense desires. This mind is never satisfied. Like a traveler lost in a forest, it wanders from one flower of pleasure to another, seeking happiness but finding only temporary relief. Sense desires are natural and arise in all beings. They bring moments of joy and beauty. But when the mind becomes insatiate, craving grows into a fire that consumes peace and contentment. This fire of craving is the root of suffering. It keeps us bound in the cycle of birth and death, endlessly seeking without rest. The Buddha's teaching calls us to awaken to this truth, to see the nature of desire clearly and without judgment, to understand how craving traps the mind and leads to suffering. Mindfulness is the key to this awakening. When desire arises, we watch it with calm awareness. We do not push it away, nor do we feed it with indulgence. Instead, we observe its impermanent nature. By seeing craving as a passing phenomenon, we weaken its hold. The insatiate mind begins to rest, and freedom grows. Collecting flowers of pleasure is like gathering leaves in a storm. They scatter and disappear. But the qualities of wisdom, compassion, and mindfulness are lasting treasures. The striver on the path chooses to collect these true treasures. With patience and kindness, the striver loosens the bonds of craving and walks toward liberation. This teaching encourages gentle courage, to face the powerful force of desire with clear seeing and compassionate effort. The mind that is insatiate in sense desires is like a flame that burns without end. It consumes joy and peace, leaving behind only ashes of dissatisfaction. The destroyer, which represents death and suffering, gains power over such a mind. This power is not something outside of us, but arises naturally when craving holds the heart captive. The flowers of pleasure are beautiful and tempting. They draw the mind like a moth to light, promising happiness but leading to sorrow. The Buddha's teaching shows us a different way, a path of freedom from grasping and craving. The striver learns to recognize the arising of desire as a signal, not a command. Each craving is a moment to practice mindfulness and choose freedom. Through patient practice, the mind becomes like a clear lake, reflecting without disturbance. Desires arise but do not sweep the heart away. This peace is the true happiness that the flowers of pleasure cannot give. It is the fruit of letting go. The destroyer's sway weakens as the mind cultivates wisdom and compassion. With each step on the path, the grip of craving loosens. The striver collects the flowers of virtue and understanding, which nourish the heart and prepare it for awakening. May we all develop the strength to face desire with mindful courage. May we gather true treasures that last beyond the fleeting pleasures. The insatiate mind moves restlessly, seeking new pleasures but never finding rest. Like a river that never stops flowing, craving carries us forward without peace. The destroyer's power grows when the mind clings tightly to these fleeting joys. Attachment is the root that feeds the cycle of suffering. The Buddha's teaching invites us to pause and observe, to turn the light of mindfulness toward desire and see its true nature. When we watch with gentle attention, craving loses its power. It no longer commands us to act, no longer controls the heart. The flowers of pleasure then become just flowers, beautiful but not necessary for happiness. The striver practices patience and kindness toward the mind. Desire is not punished or pushed away. It is understood and released with compassion. This practice leads to a steady and joyful heart, a heart that does not need to grasp to feel alive. The destroyer's sway is broken by wisdom. The mind that knows freedom rests peacefully beyond fear and craving. The path is not one of denial, but of gentle letting go. It is an invitation to live fully awake and free. May we cultivate this mindful freedom each day. May we walk the path of awakening with courage and compassion. The flowers of pleasure, though alluring, are like illusions shimmering in the heat. They promise delight but fade quickly, leaving the heart thirsty and longing. The insatiate mind collects these flowers, hoping to fill a deep emptiness. But no amount of pleasure can satisfy the longing that arises from craving itself. The destroyer, the force of impermanence and suffering, holds sway over such a mind because it is caught in endless desire. The Buddha's Dharma points to the path of release. To awaken from this cycle of craving, we must cultivate mindfulness that sees desire as it arises and passes away. Each moment of awareness is a step toward freedom. When we meet craving with wisdom and compassion, it loses its grip. The striver on the path learns to treasure the true flowers: kindness, patience, generosity, and wisdom. These qualities do not fade. They nourish the heart and prepare the mind for awakening. The path is gentle but firm. It requires courage to face the powerful force of desire and patience to practice letting go. May we all walk this path with open hearts. May we gather the true treasures that bring lasting peace and joy. The grasping mind is restless, always chasing the next flower of pleasure. This restlessness is the root of suffering, a fire that burns without end. The destroyer's sway over such a mind is natural, for craving leads to sorrow, fear, and confusion. The Buddha's teaching offers a path of awakening, a way to quiet the mind and free it from desire's grip. Mindfulness is the lantern that shines in the darkness. With each moment of clear seeing, the mind grows lighter. The striver practices gentle awareness, recognizing craving as it arises, but not following it. This practice softens the heart and loosens the bonds of attachment. The flowers of pleasure may come and go, but the fruits of wisdom and compassion remain. As the grasping mind lets go, it finds true happiness, a peace that is steady and deep. The destroyer's power fades in the light of awakened understanding. May we all cultivate this mindfulness and wisdom. May we gently release craving and rest in the peace beyond desire. The mind that constantly collects flowers of pleasure is like a traveler lost in a desert, endlessly searching for water that will quench the thirst. This endless seeking is the cause of much suffering. The more the mind grasps, the more it feels empty and dissatisfied. The destroyer, representing impermanence and death, holds sway over this restless mind. The chains of craving bind tightly, making freedom seem distant. But the Buddha's Dharma shows another way. It invites us to awaken and see the nature of craving clearly. With mindfulness, we learn to observe desires without being controlled by them. We recognize their arising and passing, like clouds drifting across the sky. This awareness loosens the grip of craving and brings peace. The striver cultivates the flowers of virtue, generosity, patience, loving-kindness, and wisdom. These true treasures nourish the heart and prepare it for awakening. Walking the path with gentle effort, the striver gradually frees the mind from the destroyer's sway. May we all develop the courage to look deeply within. May we gather the true flowers that lead to lasting happiness. The destroyer's sway over the grasping mind shows us the power of craving to bind and blind us. Yet the Dharma offers a path beyond this bondage, a path of awakening and freedom. The flowers of pleasure are beautiful but fleeting. They invite the mind to grasp, but their beauty fades and leaves emptiness. The awakened mind sees clearly. It does not grasp but rests in peace. Free from craving's chains, the striver walks this path with mindfulness and compassion, gently releasing desire and cultivating wisdom. True happiness arises not from collecting fleeting flowers, but from nurturing the seeds of kindness, patience, and insight. May we all awaken to this truth. May our hearts be free from grasping. May we live with gentle courage, wisdom, and peace. The mind caught in insatiable desire is like a boat without an anchor, tossed by every wave of craving. This restless wandering leads to suffering and confusion. The destroyer holds sway over this wandering mind, guiding it along the endless cycle of birth and death. Yet within each of us lies the potential to awaken, to find a steady anchor in mindfulness and wisdom. The flowers of pleasure, though tempting, are like mirages on the horizon. They promise fulfillment but leave the heart thirsty. The path of Dharma teaches us to see beyond these illusions, to recognize craving as a passing cloud, not the sky itself. With each moment of awareness, the grip of desire loosens. The heart begins to rest in a peaceful stillness. The striver on the path gathers the true treasures: compassion, patience, and insight. These flowers do not fade. They nourish the soul and prepare the way to awakening. May we all cultivate this mindful courage, gently releasing grasping and walking the path of freedom. The grasping mind, insatiate in sense desires, is a root of endless suffering. Like a river that flows without end, craving pulls the heart in every direction, never resting. The destroyer, symbolizing impermanence and death, holds sway over this mind, weaving the cycle of birth and rebirth. Yet the Dharma shines as a lamp in the darkness, showing us the path beyond grasping. The awakened mind knows the nature of desire, how it arises, how it passes, and how it can be released. With mindfulness and compassion, the striver gently lets go of craving's hold. True peace arises not from external pleasures, but from the inner flowering of wisdom and kindness. These qualities endure beyond all change, beyond the sway of the destroyer. May we all walk the path with open hearts and steady minds. May we awaken from grasping to true freedom. May the merit of this teaching extend to all beings. Thank you for watching my video. Namalamitpa. I wish to bring this merit towards all disciples and sentient beings, all of whom will attain Buddhahood. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate your time.